who takes over the reins now? I mean, there had been some suggestions of a return back to a Shah, Reza Pahlavi, who is the exiled crown prince of Iran. He's spent about 50 years living abroad now. He has already overnight outlined his plan for what he says would be an orderly and transparent transition to a democratic Iran. Can it get back to a democracy? And how long would that realistically take?
Well, there are so many people. I mean, certainly there are a large number of Iranians. Remember, it's a 90 million population. It's a huge country. There are plenty of people that really dislike their government. They were willing to go on the street and protest at great personal risk to themselves just in January. But there are also a bunch of rusted-on adherents of this regime and see it as a revolutionary and religious regime that they support. So civil war is a potential here, but really the people with the guns are still the regime. They have the upper hand when the bombs stop.
I want to actually talk to you about the strike itself. What struck me was that this was a daylight attack. Is that unusual? What would have prompted the US and Israel to go for it in the middle of the day? What sort of intel could have prompted that?
I think the key thing was the meeting happening in Khamenei's compound, in the leadership compound in the middle of Tehran. So the Israelis and the Americans obviously had enough very sensitive real-time intelligence to say the whole bunch of senior leaders are meeting in this single place, and if we strike now, we can decapitate the regime, and that's what they did. I think that was the key piece of intel.
And what about the technology used to pull off something? Because Donald Trump in his statement said that highly sophisticated tracking systems were used. Take us through what that would entail.
Well, if we remember back to June last year, the Israelis seemed to have a whole lot of insights into the Iranian government's operations. Some of that would have been electronic, signals intelligence, interception, cyber kind of operations, but some of it is old-fashioned humans on the ground working for the Israelis and or the Americans. And obviously there's a lot of satellite overhead intelligence that you can look at to see who's going where.
And just before we let you go, how much credit do you give the leadership of both Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu to go in there and effectively cut the head off the snake?
Well, I don't think it would have happened under different leaders in either of the countries. I think Netanyahu has had enormous influence because he has great concern about the Iranian missile and nuclear program. He thinks Iran's weak and this is the moment to strike. And Donald Trump obviously made that key decision, not just to mass the US forces, but now to use them. So it's a unique combination of the two.
Well, look, it's been a massive day, and you're right, I don't think that any other leader around the world would have had the courage and the guts to go for it. Michael Shoebridge, great to have you on this evening. Thanks very much for joining me.